Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be going through a session with my buddy Derek Garza. We are going to be going through ways in which we can improve some of the inhibitions that he has. It's going to follow on from the second to last video that I posted, very much around landing positions, breaking down maybe some old habits, but also working with someone that has enormous experience and sometimes to the naked eye actually looks, really good in terms of how they move, dynamically can handle a lot of things. But ultimately, I think there always has to be a stage where we want to find ways in which we can continue to lift that performance so that it kind of doesn't hit a plateau and a performance ceiling there. So we're gonna get into the session. We're gonna be rolling through some light movements to get him prepared for a couple of, I'd say, more sequenced drills that will gradually expose him to the positions that we want to put him in, and really where we're going to chase a little bit of velocity of him striking underneath his hip as best as possible. And I feel like this could really unlock a little bit more for him in terms of where his performance ceilings are. So let's get into it. Okay, so initially we're going to go through some light tier movements and we'll scale up the intensity of these based on bringing in more active limb speed. So it will start to make sense as we go through. So the first one we'll get you to do, Derek, is just a basic light leap. But I want there to be a focus on just making sure that you're going to try and stack the body well, try and land a little bit more of a full foot position, because I know that you have preference to land a little bit more up onto the forefoot, which I think comes from your hurdling. In your hurdling days, or soon to be veterans hurdling days. Yeah, so let's just go through like a easy set of 10. Keep it super simple at first. So this is like your lightest form of a plyo at first. So let's go back this way as well. Give me another sort of 10, give you a slightly different angle. Very, very rudimentary. Might not even be deemed plyometric at this point, but the point is that we're trying to stack the body in good positions to start with. Okay, so next one we'll do is, we'll start to ramp it up a little bit, but I want you to do a split exchange. So that front foot's really got to stack quite well. Good, just a small exchange. Cool, I get you to walk back to here and we'll do it again in this direction towards the camera. Okay. What's happening with the split exchange and why this is more intense is because we start to have an active limb motion. So that back leg comes forward and creates braking action. And this breaks down that inhibition in us. So give me a little bit more of a split this time and let's get a little bit more active. Good. So actually, you can see that he doesn't actually like too much of a split. So even at the beginning, he started here, he tended to creep into something a little bit more narrower. Tell us.
Right, but one of the things I'm trying to, I guess, avoid in time here is not putting so much pressure on my front leg that I'm ignoring the back leg to where all of my weight is here and there's hardly any in the back. But I'm going to run through that again to match more of
I like that.
What you're talking about with the split.
There you go. Good. Nice. So what's good there as well is that actually you don't necessarily always have to have that back leg completely like flat or full-footed. You can still do this with like the heel just slightly off, and it might just touch down a little bit, especially with like a real rudimentary form of movement. Maybe if you go to more of a medium, it might be a slightly longer split. So you're ultimately, the longer split you get, the higher you are up on that toe. But it's a really good point in that you've got to have a balance there of making sure that you are central to that split stance. You can't be so skewed forward that you're getting a ton of loading on that front leg, because it's not going to keep the reactivity there from front to back. Okay, so the next one we're going to run through is a bounding action. This is where we're bringing in a little bit more active limb speed. So if you can take a little bit more space back there. Okay. So I want you to keep it relatively short, but your central focus here is what you do right there. Like you're going from one to the other, and it's just that last minute whip down underneath, exactly like as you come off a hurdle. How do you come off a hurdle? That lead leg has to come down underneath the hip, right? It's exactly the same principle with bounding. Good, there you go. Good, that's it. That's exactly what I want to see. It's exactly what I want to see because it shows that actually to do that, you did just sit your hips just a tad, which is fine because we're learning. That's not a problem. Like, not everything has to look perfect in every situation that you put someone, because there ultimately has to be learning times with our training sessions. So
I can feel that too.
yeah, so you just, but it's good. It's good that you have that consciousness there as well. So let's go through that again. Let's try and do it a little bit taller. So it's a weird thing, right? You want to be tall, but you want to land in a full foot. But when I'm tall, I always want to be up on my toes. And as a hurdler, you live in this position. As someone that is not the tallest for a hurdler as well, you have to really live up high. So
Little height challenge.
You're not Pascal Martino Lagar. You're not 6'5" and can just walk over the hurdles.
Yeah, the other part too, in kind of sitting in that hip position, which is a great pickup, is that also allows me and would allow a lot of people to be set in that position. Like, you don't deviate from it because of the hip position. It makes it a little bit easier to state it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it gives you a good pull through that action then as well. Nice, good, even better. And actually, if we were to give Derek a little bit more of a run out with it, it would probably get taller and taller as you go anyway. So I think let's show them one more, but you're gonna go almost out of shot. So all the way back to the yellow line, and I just want you to just gradually build it up. So you can observe here, it's probably getting taller and taller. There you go. Most of the time as well, guys, that it's so funny in that when you actually just build up momentum, it probably feels easier on you than it does to start bounding. Like, it's always a thing there. So cool. So the next step up from here will be hopping. And again, that sequence up in terms of intensity will be all down to the rate in which you have to cycle the leg. Because when you hop, you don't have the freedom to move to the other leg in a kind of like a lazy way, right? You can be lazy, you can just kind of, oh, okay, I've got the other leg, got the other leg. When you hop, it's this need. There's a requirement for you to have to continue to cycle that leg. So this is all providing us with more feedback for how the individual is also moving and how they like to move. So I get the feeling, Derek, that you don't necessarily always like to really extend a lot because you probably feel like you can't get your leg through. So there has to be this happy medium where you're getting a fast extension, but it's a real strong reflexive extension that's gonna pick that leg up and through. And ultimately it's gonna give you time out in front of you to attack underneath the hip. So the next bit's gonna be working on carrying a little bit of momentum here. So what we want to do, so if I just get you to just step back here for a second and I'll show you the example. But the aim of this one is you're just going to do a single effort, but I want that single effort to traject you forward, and then I want it to prime the landing position. You don't have to stick it, you can just roll it out of it. But you're going to start just balancing on one leg almost, and you're going to hop and land in the position that you want to feel most comfortable with. So you could do a couple of these and then traject off of that next one. So it could be just a single land in the position that you want, and then you're going to add a double hop. So it can be, and again, that feeling of hip clearance and extension out of the backside is really going to then help facilitate the pickup and preparation then to what happens when you want to whip the leg down. Nice, don't reach for it too much, just get it underneath the hip. Nice, good. That's good. You're showing forward trajectory after that, which is what we want. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Now let's give us a double one. Excellent, good. Now I want to feel, so the second one you can just bail through, like the first landing, I want you to really pivot off and extend well out of it. Good, okay, excellent. That's fine, that's fine. Just keep yourself hips tall. Last one. Best one yet. So the last element to this is working with it reactively. And again, this is a starting piece to something that can also grow into just full, circular hopping or a pickup hop where you are trying to just react to the ground. So Derek's gonna do like a 1, 2, 3, and then hop, hop. And that hop, hop is just those sequences that we are really trying to achieve those best positions, okay? Excellent. So what it starts to show as well is that it has to really be initially synchronized from the quality of the first 3, and that's going to get you going into the positions that will follow in the bigger movements. So let's do one more, and I want you then to give us a bit of feedback in terms of how that feels. Excellent, good, that's the best one yet. So how do you think the previous drills are kind of translating into that final piece of trying to create those 2 reactive hops?
It gives you a lot to work with in terms of finding where your footing is.
Yep.
And then knowing how to attack the ground. I think a big piece of this, if we're going back to inhibitions, is that's our goal, right? To get rid of that, get more comfortable with attacking the ground and taking off. So if that's our overarching theme, which we don't want to lose sight of, then all of the other pieces and components allow you to feel the ground in so many different aspects, right? So you get to feel the ground just directly underneath you. You get to feel it when you're switching, and you have to maintain balance between one leg and the other, as with the bounding. And then with the hopping, how does that translate into building some momentum into actually attacking and taking off? So the last one felt great. In the second to last one, that iteration, it's getting a feel for where you are and not losing sight of how do I attack the ground? How do I use this momentum to attack the ground?
Awesome. So our last piece of the puzzle with regards to this inhibition and not wanting to hit the ground is going to be more of a redirection of momentum, and that's in just on the spot action, and you're going to hop forward and react back to that initial spot. Now, it's not necessarily per se going to put you in the exact positions that you want, but you can also use this as a bit of a neural stimulator for then getting into a hopping action, because ultimately if you're on the move when you hop, it's going to feel a lot easier than having to completely change that direction.
Right.
So you're going to hop forward and react to that and see if you can return back to that initial point, and let's see if you can pick out any specifics that you like or dislike.
Okay.
Good. Even smaller hop can be okay.
Okay.
Good, good, I like that one. Last one, I want you to really try to travel back.
Okay.
Excellent, good. That gave you a little bit of a distinguished kind of side to what it looks like to just react and then to really have to change direction. Tell me some more about those.
So I guess engaging how I'm going into coming back. So I clearly have some inhibitions about my foot placement and coming back through it. So for me, obviously that's something I need to work on, but also where's my foot landing? Am I more pronated or supinated? Am I giving myself, am I going into it with enough confidence to push out of it, or am I looking for an exit plan? Right, so I don't want to bail from this position, but that's all I'm learning. So he said, hey, go a little bit smaller. Okay, go a little bit smaller and see where I'm at, gauge how I feel doing that. So then I can gauge whether or not I can ramp up or if I need to ramp back down or stay where I'm at.
Yeah. I actually thought the react, like where you were purely just trying to react to it, it displayed some whipping action that I've not seen in your actual full hopping before, which is nice because you can't hide with laziness because you have the dynamic ability that you have. very similar with a lot of experienced athletes. They can just get away with things and you're like, this is just lazy mode. This is you working on autopilot. And actually, if we were to get you to truly try to achieve something with intent, that brings out the quality that we want.
Yeah.
So there's something to be learned in that. Even when you're working on sub-maximal movements, there still has to be the right positions and the right attack about certain movements that is going to facilitate things higher up the chain and in higher intent-based movements. Because if you get it wrong when you're doing it early on and you're not putting forward the right sort of intent and the right position, it's just going to relay more at those higher intensities. So that for me is key, and I think that will hopefully maybe facilitate how you feel a bit better about how you attack when you move and hop.
Agreed.
So hopefully you could take a lot from those specific drills. I always think that inhibition and landing mechanics go hand in hand, that really inhibition can dictate the sort of positions that you're going to land in, and vice versa. Those landing mechanics can also place a detriment to some inhibition that you may pick up and just build in poor landing positions, mechanical feelings, and just understanding where your foot should land with regards to your center of mass. So let me know below whether some of these movements have helped your plyometrics, and do make sure that you like, comment and subscribe, and go follow my boy Derek Garza. Thanks guys.